Yo, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be walking you guys on credit limit transfers. What are they? Why are they important? And how do you do it? So with credit limit transfers, this is a huge game changer. Essentially what we're going to be doing is stacking credit limits from other cards by transferring them to the card that you want, usually the one that has their 0%, so that you have more 0% credit limits for a longer period of time. So I'll be talking about the strategy, how it's going to help your total credit limits, and both on the personal and the business side. So let's get into it. All right, first and foremost, bank we're going to be talking about is Chase. Not all banks lets you do credit limit transfers. So the banks that I'm going to be talking about are the ones that we know that do it, and the ones that I had mentioned have a relationship with early on. So Chase Bank, in the prior video, I mentioned how you want to prioritize the relationship with them because they have multiple cards on the 0% business front. And we want to have at least one or two is better. Anything more than that's a great too, as long as you're within their 5 and 24 rule. But the reason is because before we apply for business credit cards with this bank, Chase likes to see us have at least one of their cards with a really high credit limit. This shows large comparable credit limits on the personal side within their systems, meaning they're more likely to give us higher credit limits when it comes time applying for the business credit cards. So to do this, all you got to do is call the number on the back of the credit card and request for a credit limit transfer. So let's say we have 15K on the Chase Freedom and we have 15K on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. We're going to move the 15K over to the Freedom. Now we have about a 30K total credit limit on the Reserve. That's going to be high comparable credit. And as we transfer as much as possible from whatever card, you could just let the support know something along the lines like, hey, I'm about to make some large purchases on my whatever card, and I want to be able to get all the points on that card, so I need to do a transfer limit. What is the maximum I can transfer from each card over to the one I'm going to be spending on? Now you have all the limits in the preferred one. Now that we have one Chase card with all the limits, we're more optimized to apply for the business credit card. So one thing I do want to note for you guys, do not apply until you've completed all the requirements in chapters 1 through 4 before you start applying for the business credit, just because we want to use all those resources and tools. But that's basically it with doing credit limit transfers for the personal, so we get higher limits on the business side. Now, as a bonus hack is if you have multiple LLCs, you can transfer business credit card credit limits between each other. So I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say with Chase Bank, I applied for the Chase Business Inc. Unlimited, which is a 0% business credit card on my first LLC. I got 50K. Let's say I want to apply for another card or apply for that same card with the second LLC. You're going to want to remember, at least make sure this first LLC's utilization is paid down below 25% to get approved for another 50K card for the second LLC. And let's say we want to transfer the 50K from this first credit card over to this one. Now you have another 100K using the same card. This is really cool because once you get approved, you have more 0% for a longer period of time, and this allows you to have those high limits and extend that. So cool, awesome trick is Chase allows you to transfer credit limits between different LLCs. So you just keep stacking those credit limits on top of each other. Something to note is the credit limit transfer only works between personal to personal cards and from business credit cards to other business credit cards or other businesses. So what I mean by that is one LLC could have two of the cards, you could transfer the credit limits there, or if you have two LLCs, you could transfer the credit limits interchangeably, but that's how Chase works. Next bank we're going to be talking about is Amex. This is an awesome bank as well. The cool thing with them is they're actually a little bit more flexible with their credit limit transfers than they are with Chase. So again, we want to have 1 or 2 cards with them. The reason why we want to have high limit personal credit cards before we apply for business credit with Amex is you're allowed to transfer your Amex personal credit limits to your business credit limits. So here's how the strategies would want to work is, let's say you have 2 personal credit cards with Amex, let's just say $15K a pop. You get approved for Amex for a $20K on the business credit side. So you have 2 personal credit cards, $15K each, and 1 Amex business credit card at, let's say, $20K. And we want to transfer as much from the personal over to the business. What we could do is transfer, and this is how you want to do it ideally, is 1, choose to transfer, let's say, $10K from 1 personal credit card onto the second card. Now, this leaves you $5K on 1 personal card and $25K on the second or the second personal credit card. Because remember, we moved $10K over to the second one. So now we're at $25K on the second credit card. Then transfer the $20K credit limit from the second personal credit card to the business credit card. This leaves you with a total of $40K at 0% on the business credit card, and then $5K on both the personal credit cards. Usually they'll want you to have some sort of credit limit on the personal, but you could just ask them what's the maximum I'm allowed to transfer over. The reason we've done it this way is because you could only transfer from personal to business once every 90 days. So we wanted to have 1 credit card with all the personal credit limits before moving it all to the business credit card. Because if we try to move $10K from 1 personal card to the business, we would have had to wait 90 days to be able to do that same thing for the second credit card. So make sure you've already applied for the credit limit increases on all your personal accounts, then transfer to the one from 1 card to the other, and then from that personal credit card, transfer all that to the business credit card. So the more you have on the personal, essentially the more you're gonna get on the business because you get to keep transferring them over. For me, I get the most value on 0% business credit because I can invest it and make money, so I'm okay with having lower personal credit limits. So same thing, kind of similar to the Chase process, is this is a little different. All you got to do is call a specific number. It's not the number on the back of the card. It's 1-800-492-3344, and I'll include that number below. Or it could be done and just simply let them know by saying, hi, I'd like to do a credit limit transfer from my personal limits to business, and they'll take good care of you. All right, guys, so that's it for the video. This was a really awesome video because we're going to be able to taking whatever credit limits you get approved for, you're going to be able to double or even triple those by doing the strategy of credit limit transfers. We know what they are, why they're important, how to do it. Let's go out and take some action. Peace.